7 years ago, my dad passed away, and at the time, it was very emotionally challenging for me. I was 27. I had a change in my career, well, my job at the time, and also the breakup of a relationship. So there was a lot of things going on around that time that were mentally quite strenuous, and I accessed some mental health support around that time, and it made a massive difference to me just being around somebody that was judgment free and helped me process my own thoughts. So I know firsthand the power and how effective getting mental health support can be. I wanted to raise some money for a mental health charity, someone that would support people who were in need. As a personal trainer, we work with people all the time on people's physical health, but we also see how much mental health is affected, especially in today's society. And I wanted to make sure that whoever I was fundraising for, the money was going to go to somebody that was effective and was already helping people, so that way I knew that the funds would be used well and those people would get the help they needed. And Mind Lancashire was the number one name that kept cropping up. So the challenge was to run 10k every day through November, and to do each one of the 10ks in under an hour. All the members at the gym were really behind me and encouraging everything that we were doing. People offered to come and run with me, and to those that weren't runners would come out on bikes and things and cycle. So it was nice to have that sort of support. In that time, we almost doubled the amount of donations that we had at that point from announcing it to actually running the marathon. So it worked. So the first 3 weeks, the weather was pretty good. For November, I ended up with sunshine and no rain. And then the temperatures really dropped down, and I went out one morning and ended up with like a bit of spasm in my back, which later that day when I was led on the floor meant that I couldn't get up off the floor. So I was quite concerned that I was going to struggle to complete the 10k the following day in under the hour. I managed to do that, even though it was uncomfortable, and every time I hit the floor with my left foot, I'd get a spasm in my back, which was pretty uncomfortable. At the same point, I can't remember the name of the storm, but there was a pretty catastrophic storm. The word that was used by one of the guys that came running with me was apocalyptic storm, and we ended up running at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning through wind and rain that was just absolutely lashing us, with spasms in my back to get it done. But it's one of the best memories of it, because you were going through the biggest challenge with 5 people who did not need to be there, but they wanted to see me get through it, and they wanted to push us forward on the challenge. That's what life does. It throws challenge at you, and it's how you react to them, how you step up to them. And kept saying, if you do hard things, you get better at doing hard things, and that's what challenges like that are all about, whether that's doing something physical and running every day, or whether it's having tough conversations. If you get used to having hard conversations, it's all of a sudden not so hard to have them. There probably were a number of times where I'd set off on a run and not feel particularly motivated to go and do it that day. But there was one occasion where a couple of friends of ours had recently also had a child, and unfortunately wasn't very well and he needed surgery. And I was out on a 10k, and I was on my way back, and my phone read a message through my headphones, and it was a text from one of our friends to say that they'd actually cancelled the young lad's operation for that day. And we're talking about major surgery on a newborn baby. And it just made me think of, in that moment, I was feeling a little demotivated, or sorry for myself that I had to go and run, or that I'd just run another 10k and it was hard. But there was somebody out there whose newborn child had to have surgery. That was so much more difficult for them to face. And it just put into context how the challenge that I was doing at that point in time was insignificant, and there was no way that I couldn't not finish a 10k when somebody else had to go through that. That's a hard day. Running a 10k when you don't feel like it is not a hard day.